Hi, I'm Keerthana Chandrasekhar and welcome back to my channel. So today we have a very, very special guest with us on this podcast, my very own sister, Divya Darshini.
Hi, I am Devedarshini, and do you want to announce the news, or should I just say what's happened? Why we're doing this podcast?
I think you should. I don't want to steal your thunder. I think you should. I don't want to steal your thunder.
All right, so I just got accepted into IIM Ahmedabad for the PGP 2025 to 2027, and I'm super excited. And I think we're just trying to talk about our experience and how we got here. So a little bit about me is that I did my undergraduate from IIM Indore from the IPM program, and when I was my third year, I wrote CAT, and it all worked out, I guess.
Yes, and everyone in the family is super proud of you. And we can't wait to see what you do at IIMA. And I have a feeling that you're going to go above and beyond of whatever I've achieved there. And I really, really hope IIMA.
I think that's like a really high benchmark that you've set, especially with how everything has turned out for you from IIMA. But I hope I can do that.
Yeah, and I really, really hope that, IIMA works out amazingly well for you as well. So let's quickly go into the questions. I have a set of questions prepared for you, right? I feel that other people might find useful. So you mentioned that, you were in IIM Indore. So now why shift to another IIM? Do you not, let's say controversial, do you not think you're wasting someone's seat?
All right. I think I'll answer it in two parts. The first part about why shift. It's basically the first question I was asked in every interview I went. Like right as soon as I sat down, no one really asked me to introduce myself. They would just go, why shift? So I think for me, I think we were brought up in a way where our parents always said, you can do whatever you want as long as you do it in the best institute there is. And for IPM or for an undergraduate degree, I think I saw that IIM Indore had the best to offer over there. And while it was supposed to be a 5-year program, I think that the undergrad did prime me. And when I was thinking about where to do my MBA, I started to notice that maybe MBA from IIM Indore, just based on a lot of factors, I felt like it wasn't the best for me. So I was starting to look for other options. And talking about the best I think IIM Ahmedabad is definitely the best suited for me, which is why I've picked it again. And about the wasting seat part, I really feel like if I did continue, that my potential would be wasted. And I think that hurt me a lot more than wasting someone else's seat.
Correct. It's okay to be a little selfish. It's completely fine.
Wait, that actually reminds me. One thing that, a lot of people say about IIM Ahmedabad, or most of the IIMs, is that it's a very dog-eat-dog scenario. And, people are very toxic, people are very selfish, and, people are just doing anything to bring others down and bring themselves up, especially because of relative grading and all of it. Is that true?
See, to an extent, yes, it's true. But it's very important to identify who these people are very, very early on. So then you don't get, fucked over basically. So that's very important. But I think you'll be fine. Just find those 3-4 people who are going to be there with you for the next 2 years and just, hold on to them very, very tightly. And I think you'll be good to go. So moving forward, do you want to talk about your CAT score? Like, are you comfortable?
Yeah, I actually did have a decent score, 99.89 percentile.
So with that score, we were expecting all the calls for you.
Yes, and I did get all the calls.
And you also converted all of them.
All the ones that I attended.
Yes. Unfortunately, she's already one-upped me there. That wasn't the case with me 3 years ago. So how is your CAT prep journey like? And, how is it different from what I went through?
Actually, about what you went through, I really remember because I was also in 12th grade while you were preparing for CAT.
Yes. And one more thing is that for me, it was during COVID. So even though I was still in college, I was at home preparing for CAT along with college.
And I had actually be at college. But we were both preparing for competitive exams at the same time. So I think it might have been easier for you to be in that atmosphere. And I think that also worked out for me because pretty much all of my peers from college were also preparing for CAT. So I think the atmosphere was there. Except for that, I don't know. I really, it's supposed to be really fresh, right? But I don't remember much of it. I just logged in, and I was super crazy about CAT prep. So I'm not a person who really studies a lot, stays up late night to study or anything. You've seen me since I was a kid, right? I'd just sleep at home and then go do exams. But with CAT, it was very different. I really hope none of my professors ever watch this because I would skip classes to prepare for CAT.
Everyone in college who's still preparing for CAT does that, so it's completely normal.
I would wake up really early to go to the library, sit there. I'm not a person who goes to the library at all, but it was only those few months during CAT prep that I actually went to the library at all. But I think it was fine. It had its ups, its downs, all those mental breakdowns, just pure will to persevere to it. But I think it worked out fine.
So your course was a 3-year course, and can you exactly point out the moment you said, okay, I'm going to start preparing for CAT now, and how you went about it?
So I think preparing for CAT was always just there at the back of my mind, but I think my preparation as such started at around April of 2023. No, 2024 April. So I only prepared for about 7 months or so.
Okay. I prepared for a year and a half, so.
Right, but yeah, April 2024, I was at home for 2 months because I was doing my internship in Chennai, and that's exactly when I started my preparation. I think before that, again, I really didn't have the time or the space, or I didn't even understand exactly what to do with CAT prep. And I also didn't have someone just nagging me all the time saying, prepare for CAT, you can do this, someone to motivate me.
And did you go for coaching?
No, I didn't take any coaching. So I think it's something that was pretty similar to what you had done as well. I only took a lot of mock series from a lot of different institutes, right? So that was there, but no coaching as such.
Yeah.
I did take coaching for interview prep, but and I think that's required. But for CAT prep, it really depends on what everyone's requirements are. And for me, I really wanted to solve a lot of questions to see what I could do with that, and also do a lot of error analysis. And I saw you, and seeing you go through all of it just 3 years back, I think I could figure out how I should base my prep and what I should do. So that really helped me out as well.
Did you have any, I messed up my mock and then have a complete mental breakdown after that, such moments?
Did you just plan this so I would tell that?
Yes.
Right. So because I think in April and May you were also at home at the same time, and you've seen all the mental breakdowns, and as shitty as it was, as much as it really breaks you, I think I'm really glad that you were there too, because after I would get terrible scores in my mocks, I would
make you feel worse.
Yes, I would cry. I would just go cuddle up next to her, and I would cry, and you would just be like, yeah, it's fine, it's just a mock, it's okay, you don't have to go to IIM Ahmedabad just because I went to IIM Ahmedabad. And you'd bully me, and then I'd cry for about 15-20 minutes, and then I'd be on my phone after that, and you'd just be like, fine, why are you on your phone now, go study.
So basically something that I would tell my sister all the time to motivate her to get into IIM Ahmedabad would be, if you get into any other IIM, I would tell my kids that A comes before B, C, L, K, I. So I would tell them that I'm the smarter sister.
It's not just even telling your own kids. You were threatening me that you tell my kids, and you were saying that even alphabetically A comes before B and C.
So how did you handle pressure from the family firstly, and social media, and your own friends back from school and college, because they were all aware that I was in IMA at that time. So do you think people had these expectations for you as well, or were they chill about it?
I think it's a bit of yes and no. Talking about family pressure, I think our parents were very chill with it. I think my parents were very short that they didn't want to put that pressure on me, saying that your sister went to IMA, you have to go to IMA too. And if you don't get into IMA, you're a failure or anything. They were very chill about it. They said, do your best. We got this. We always got your back and all of it. I think even in that sense, you were also at sometimes very chill about it. And friends, I don't think my friends really put pressure on me, or I don't think I'm a kind of person who really takes pressure from my friends or cares too much about what that's like.
I think a whole lot of that comes from the fact that you were already in IIM Indore, so technically you have nothing to lose. You're already in one of the best institutes in the country. You already have a seat set aside for you. So what could go wrong, right?
Maybe that was also there, but again, you stay there for 3 years. You understand a lot of what's there for you in the next 2 years, and you kind of understand where you want to be in the long run as well. So with that, I think most of the pressure really didn't come from outside. It just came from within. And that's just how it's always been. So did I deal with it? Maybe not too healthily, but that's okay.
It's okay. A little bit of mental damage is fine.
Not mental damage. I might have partied way too hard to compensate.
And talking about that, I know that you did party a lot on campus in IIM Indore. So do you think luck has a little bit of play or say in this entire journey, or is this pure hard work?
Luck definitely has a huge part to play in this, because I personally know a lot of people who are very, very capable who might have not done so well on the day of CAT. And they would have been more consistent than I was. They definitely would have had better mock scores than I did. But it's just that one day, 2 hours, that determines the rest of it, right? So that's just with CAT. And again, if you think about it during the interviews, you could just have a bad day, an off day there. You might not have like your wits around you on that day. In that case, it just doesn't pan out the way you want it to. So there is always like that little bit of luck that plays a role. And unfortunately, with things like this where you have only one shot, it plays a very huge role. Like, for example, with me, I knew that I only had one chance to give CAT. I didn't even have the privilege to take a drop. So with me, I think luck really favored me. And of course, it has to be consistent hard work and everything, but it's not all. There's definitely 90% hard work and 10% luck.
Right. It's about being in the right place at the right time. So now let's talk about your interview experience and journeys. Like, how is your strategy like for interviews?
Strategy for interviews. So
I would just, get on a video call with her every week and just bully the shit out of her and tell her she doesn't know anything. She's going to fail.
And that's kind of true. I really don't know anything. I think growing up, you were always the smarter sister, the more aware one, the witty one, and I was just, I don't know, I would just exist around, cracking a bunch of jokes, being goofy. So it's very valid. And with GK, I was so out of touch with GK. I've never really been the kind of person who picks up a newspaper to read it. I would know the basic current affairs, but I wasn't very, caught up with it. But again, since I was a fresher, I think it was kind of easy for me to predict what the questions were. So I would say my strategy for interview was that I was very smart about it. I knew what questions I would be asked. And I mean, you can't really predict all of it, but I predicted about 80% of it. So why I would have wanted to leave IIM, and that was a question I was asked everywhere. And to not prepare that answer would have been really foolish of me, and I did prepare that.
I think you also had like a document, right, with all of these predicted questions that you would predict and like have the answers for it, the points for it.
It's a basic HR questions, DK questions that everyone makes, and you'd get that online anyway. But apart from that, like I was thinking about my own profile, and it's also about like I knew where exactly my strengths lied, so I would try to drive the conversation that way. And if I did mention something, what all I could be asked based on it. So I did a couple of projects, my PORs in college, all of those. I knew I wanted to highlight it, and I knew what questions could be asked. And if I did highlight it and I didn't, I wasn't well versed with the questions that could be asked based on it, then that would not really look nice on my part. So there was that as well.
And to add on, I think you also follow the strategy, right? How I would tell you, treat your interview like a storytelling competition and frame a story around yourself. You're basically selling yourself. So the moment you sort of frame your entire journey, you tell me about yourself answer like a story, like an action-packed movie, you're in. That's what I would always tell, not just you, but also to everyone that I'm mentoring as well.
Interesting fact. In none of my interviews, I was asked, tell me about yourself.
Wow.
None of this.
Okay, so we don't know if my strategy worked or not.
But the storytelling part is actually very true, because in my IIM Ahmedabad interview, I was asked a question and I did answer incorrectly to it. But I did use a story to back up what I was saying. I was being I used a lot of real life examples for it. And I think that showed that I could actually understand and connect concepts to real life applications, and I think that sells a lot. And anywhere that I use that kind of technique, that did work. So not about just storytelling about yourself, but any snippets, analogies that you can find from the real life or anywhere, even if it's a fable that you can connect to a concept that you learned in the classroom, that really shows that you're able to connect dots. And I think for an MBA, that's really important.
So do you have any like pre-interview rituals or anything that you do like before an interview basically?
This was not just before the interview, but even like from the time I was doing my CAT prep, I would basically eat the same breakfast every day in the
God, same. I used to do that as well. Before any exam or interview, it's always tomato rice for me. Nothing else. Nothing.
For me, it was 2 boiled eggs, some cornflakes, and maybe a slice of bread.
Yeah, got to get that protein in.
Log in goals. But yeah, that was basically the breakfast that I had for, I think, 9 months. And that like anytime I had something else, I would feel so weird. And finally, it was only on those days that my mock scores dipped. So I was like, okay, this is what we're gonna eat. It was the same thing I ate before my cat. It was also the same thing I ate before my ABC interviews.
So, what was the most weirdest or unexpected question that you were asked in any of your interviews?
I have a lot of these.
What's your top?
I would say two things. One would have to be I was given a very simple algebra question to solve, and it was basically just like, let's just say 32 into 5 plus minus something. And after that, they said, give me a real life example of this.
Of an algebra. Okay.
I had to take a moment to that. And then I saw that in front of them, they had a bunch of cookies on the table. So what I said was, assume that they were pastries and you cut each of them by half. And then you add 5 more pastries and the size doesn't matter. So that's how this algebra question could come in.
I have no idea what you're saying. I'm just going out of my head right now. But, okay.
Then I think the follow-up question to that was, do you want these cookies?
And did you say yes?
I said no. I'm fine, thank you.
Did you really say no to cookies?
Unfortunately, it was like pretty much midway between the interview, and I did not want to have. I was so scared that these cookie chunks would stick in my teeth. And imagine you're trying to talk to them, and you have like all these cookie chunks in your teeth. I was very scared of my appearance during the interview as well. Second would have to be my IIM Calcutta interview. I was actually having a course on Six Sigma while that interview happened, and finally I was asked a question on Six Sigma. And it was not mentioned on my profile anywhere. And, they don't teach Six Sigma to art students technically. And they still went on and asking about it. I was really shook for a second. I was, damn, that is crazy.
I'm curious, did any of your interview panelists ask about me? Or do I just think I'm more famous than I actually am?
They didn't ask about you because they just figured out that we were sisters. But I did mention you in my IIM Ahmedabad interview, saying that I visited the campus because you were there. And there was just 1 or 2 questions about it, in the sense that when you had graduated, and if my sister had warned me about toxic people in IIM Ahmedabad. But that was just about it.
You know that I struggled during my MBA at IIMA. And did that not discourage you from pursuing an MBA?
In a really nice way to put this, because, But I think there were 2 ways to look at it. When you were really going with your MBA, I was also facing the IIM hustle. So for me, I would always think that, I faced 3 years of it. I have an idea of what it would be like. So what's 2 more years? And I also knew that if I do get in, I would always have someone to guide me, which you didn't have. So I knew that was definitely going to be a huge factor. And I kind of just put my fate in the right places. And I thought, if it's going to be that hard, and she survived, I'm pretty sure I'd get by fine.
And what do you think, helped you crack these interviews? Confidence, calmness, clarity, or content?
Have to have all of it in an interview. Like, you can have good content, you can have good clarity. And what was the other one?
Calmness. More like composure, basically.
Yeah, you can be. Yeah, you can actually they throw a lot of questions at you, and you can really handle them well. But when you're giving your questions and you're giving them very clearly with good content, but if you're not sounding very sure of yourself, they're not going to buy it. They're going to know that you're not sure. And this goes with anything. You can go on yapping very clearly, with really good vocab, really good grammar, and you sound very confident about it, but they can tell you it's all globe. So anything misses, they know that it's not there, and they're looking for all of it, in my opinion. So the best bet is to show all of it whenever you can.
Did it, help having someone in the house, who's been there and done that? Or do you feel like it was just pure micromanaging?
Definitely did help. I mean, maybe sometimes it was micromanaging, especially when I'd have a terrible mock and I'd cry and you would bully me. That was not okay. But except for that, I would say that it did help in a lot of sense. That I know I would call you when I was maybe 1-2 months before CAT, just asking you, hey, these are the scores I'm getting. Do you think I have a shot at it? Do you think I can get a good percentile? I would call you up a lot about the interviews prep. You even took one of my mock interviews and you said, you sound really dumb. But I think all of it, having such unfiltered opinion did help. Right? Because, you go to any coaching institute or you talk to a friend or a relative, there's only so much they can say, and they do hold back on a lot of things. But I think with a lot of what you said, I also do respect you a lot. This is the only time you'll hear me say that. But with that, I did take a lot of your opinion and your advice to the heart, and it did help because I never really felt like I was pestering you a lot with it. So I could come up with 100 queries on the same day, and you would still answer to all of it. And I never felt like maybe I'm bothering her too much. Should I tone it down or anything? So all of it did help. obviously. And I'm really glad about it.
So do you ever feel like, you're always in my shadow? Because from a very young age, you wanted every single thing that I've wanted or had. You wanted my toys, you wanted my clothes. I wanted IIMA, I got it, and you wanted IIMA as well. So, like, are you going to want my husband next?
I thought you were gay. I'm joking, but no, I will not want your husband. And I don't think I've really felt a lot in your shadow. So it just so happens that, when you're in the same environment and you've been raised by similar people and you've been exposed to very similar things, you end up wanting similar things. And also, come on, you're a little bit of the favorite child in the house. You always got the cooler things. And it's not like I'm the only one who takes your stuff, right? I think as we grew up, you started taking a lot of my things as well. So maybe stay away from my husband.
Noted. So you said you think that, I am the favorite child. I think our parents would definitely disagree. But how do you think our parents managed to produce two kids who made it to IIMA?
I don't think they realize what they've done yet. Maybe if they knew that this was going to happen, they would have tried something better. Maybe kids who got into our business. Maybe. But I don't know. I have no idea. But I think when I was talking to my parents, they said that they really wanted the second child to be a boy. So they were trying to match the calendar and their moon cycles and all of it.
Okay, so some of that voodoo actually worked. Right. And tell me about how it felt getting into IIMA, actually seeing that admit, the congratulations text.
We just had to go to Ahmedabad. It's not we had to go to IIM Ahmedabad.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, she's just sounding like a crazy person right now, but
I was way too delusional about IIM Ahmedabad. I was like, this is all I want. This is the only thing I want. I manifested the fuck out of it, dude. There's no other way to put it. So when I saw it, I think you were on video call with me while I was checking my results, and I kept asking you, does it say congratulations? Does it say congratulations?
And talking about the reactions, so the reaction video that that I had with Amma, you, everyone went super viral. So do you think she reacted with the same intensity for you as she did for me? Or do you think she just treated it like another day in her life?
Definitely not another day in her life, because she was crying for about 5 hours before my results even came. So I saw that the site was down at around 10 or 11 and the results came at around 5 or 6. So as soon as I said, Ma, the site's down, she started crying.
Why do you think she cried? Was it out of joy or because she was scared you wouldn't get in?
I have no idea, but she cried, and I think that's reaction. At least it wasn't, oh, cool. The nonchalance would have killed me.
Because I think for you, we were all expecting it, right? The only result we would have been shocked at was because if you didn't make it. Because I think for you, you ticked all the boxes that, IIMA looks for. You had a great percentile, you were a non-engineer, and you had a good profile, and your grades were crazy good. Your 10th, 12th, and your college CG as well. And you had a bunch of extracurriculars as well. So I think I would have been very, very shocked if you didn't make it.
Glad that didn't happen, and I got it.
Do you think I stole your thunder?
No, not at all. I think you've always been very much kind of a good guide for me all of the time. And yeah, I think our parents have been very clear with not mixing our accomplishments up. Of course, they don't have that entire, wow, she's going to the IIMA for the first time. They have that entire been there, done that attitude because they've been there for you. Right. And actually, I think they're also a little bit more primed. So they know what to expect from me.
I don't think they came to campus to drop me. They were super excited. But now they're not even excited. They're like, just IIMA.
We just have to go to Ahmedabad. It's not we have to go to IIM Ahmedabad.
Yeah, I know. I think one thing that, our dad is most excited about is just going, not even about campus anymore. It's just that
tomatoes. For sure.
It's for those who don't know, Tomatoes is a restaurant in Ahmedabad. It serves amazing European American food. So it's it's become a ritual now for my family. Every time.
I think it's because he used to work in Ahmedabad for a while, and it was one of those places that he went to. And back then, it was supposed to be a very fancy restaurant. So I think that was his definition of fine dining. But it's still sweet of us that, sweet of him that he wants to share that with us again.
Is that one thing you're, most looking forward to on campus?
The hole in the wall.
Hole in the wall? But you have to walk all the way to old campus for that.
I would have to say it might be worth it.
Definitely, you should try the bun maska. I prefer the normal one.
I think it's really unconventional, right? You have so many stores on campus, and yet people talk about a hole in the wall. So that must stand out. So.
What advice would you give to someone who is currently at where you were a year ago, which is still in college preparing for CAT, how do you think they could, make most use of the time, and what they could, potentially learn from what you learned and where you went wrong that you feel like you could possibly fix now?
Honestly, just lock in, right? It's a crazy ride. It's not constant at all, right? One time you could get like a score which if you did get in CAT, you'd probably be like AI1. Like no one's gonna top you. And then you get like really bad scores as well. And it's not going to be a constant ride. It's going to be so inconsistent, but don't just give up, right? Like cry over it, sulk for a day, just go crazy, but once it dies down, get back to the grind, right? Do not stop. At no point of time think that you can't do this. Because, the moment you tell yourself that you can't do this, you're not getting in. I had to be like really crazy delusional for me to actually do it. I had to be like, hey, if I'm not getting in, nobody else is getting in. Right. I had to be like really cocky about it to actually make it. And I think all of it was just that, anytime I was proving myself wrong with bad scores, I'd just be like, hey, this isn't me. I need to do better. Right? So I think it's just that, stick to the grind. They say that CAT is all about, being smart about it and everything, and that's true. But it's also about doing the right things the right way a lot, right? It's not about just hard work. Like, because I would say that, one thing I would always tell people is that there's number systems, right? Which is the first chapter in Arun Sharma, first chapter in any book that you see for 2 questions in CAT. And if you put all your work in that and you study a huge chapter for something that's not going to really pay off, you're doing hard work, but it isn't the right thing.
You're saying it's more about having the discipline and also knowing where to invest the energy in.
Definitely. There's no use about you just burning the midnight oil, not knowing what you're really doing, not knowing if this is going to pay off. But if you know you're doing the right things and you do it a lot, then it's definitely going to just work out completely the way you want it to.
Are you going to create content on campus as well? Are you going to follow my footsteps in that way as well? Or no? Are you going to stay away from cameras and content?
I would like to create content in the sense that watching people create content and whatever they had put out from IIM Ahmedabad was something that was really inspirational for me. And it's something that really motivated me to want to do more. So whenever I felt a slump, I would always just watch a day in my life at IIM Ahmedabad. And then I just like, hey, I want to do this. I really want to experience this. So I would do it. And I want to create content so I can really just get more kids out of their slumps too. So I think that's the reason. One thing I might not do is maybe make more content about IIM Ahmedabad even after I graduate after a year.
Ouch. Okay, shots fired. Right. So I think with this, we come to the end of the...
Okay, I have a few questions for you. Right. So one thing I really wanted to ask was, what was your first month at IIM Ahmedabad like? Because I'm going to just step in and I want to know what I can expect in the first month.
I think the first month, not just for me, for everyone, it's chaotic. Because one, it's a lot of information to process. And second, the adrenaline high is there. You're meeting so many people. There's so many things happening on campus. I know that the feeling of actually finally being there doesn't sink in until the first term is over. So, make the most out of it. Take in every second, because when you're on campus, those 2 years is extremely, extremely special. You will not feel like that ever again. Imagine being, in a place where everyone you care about, all the people you love are just like a few meters away, a few doors away. Like, when else would it be like that, right? You would now, me and my friends from IIM, we're all spread across the world, across India. So, but then just a little more than a year ago, it used to be like, hey, do you want to go have tea? So it's like that. So I would say make the most out of it and network with people, because I feel like I didn't network a lot with people. I didn't make a lot of meaningful connections. I would say do that, invest in that. And yeah, I think that's it.
What's one decision that you made in IMA that you would say has shaped your journey over there?
I would say knowing which battles to pick, right? In the first 1 month or 2 months, I was very, very clear what my strengths were and what my weaknesses were. I knew Excel was in my favorite. Excel hated me as well, but it was a mutual love-hate relationship. So, I knew I just had to do the bare minimum there. But then in courses where I was naturally good at, like marketing or communication based, I would excel in them. So that's, get it, Excel. So that's how it was. So just know where to fight and who to fight.
If you could go back and do the 2 years all over again, A, would you? And B, if you would, what's something that you would change?
I would, of course, because I think you can never get enough of IMA, right?
When all the tears and just
See, it's all part of it, right? I know when I was there, I hated it, right? It was too much to take. I wanted to get out. But now I'm like, okay, maybe I should take it slow and, savor every moment of it, because when you're in there, you don't realize how big of a deal it is, right? Because everyone you're meeting has gone through the exact same journey as you. In fact, they might have done some crazier things when compared to you as well, right? So you often start underestimating it. It becomes like a normal day. But then a few months of a few years ago, you would have prayed and cried for that normal day, right? So, of course, so savor it. And if I had to change one thing, like I told you before, network, right? Make meaningful connections. Because I think after a point, my social battery just ran out and died. And there's no replacement. Like, I just stuck to a very core group of people that, that was a decision that I made for myself. But I feel like I should have sort of broadened that circle a bit more, slightly more, so that I could have made more connections and friends, basically. So, yeah.
This one's something I really want to ask. It's that, you didn't have a very specialized profile as well when you went into IIM Ahmedabad. You had a very diverse one, and you did have interest in marketing. So for people who do have very diverse profiles that can fit into almost anything, how would you ask them to figure out their post-MBA life and what they could actually venture into? So what was it like for you? How did you figure out your post-MBA life, and what advice would you give for people like...
So one thing would be just talk to your seniors, right? They will be your go-to people on campus. Understand what their internship experience was like. Let's say if you know someone who interned at an IB or a VC firm, talk to them. Ask them how their day-to-day look like, how their seniors' day-to-day look like. Marketing same, Gen Man same, Prod Man same, and then figure out where you can actually see yourself in 5 years down the line or 10 years down the line, and then see if that there's a compatibility there, and then make a decision. And one more thing I would say is do case competitions, right? Especially for marketing, you will understand, right? If you're not you'll have like a basic idea of how these firms work and what. And also when you do case competitions, you get to interact with people from the firm itself. So that's another good way to sort of gauge if that's for you or not.
Final thing was that, how was consulting like, and was it what you expected? Did IIMA prepare you for it?
Consulting was interesting because consulting was never really on my list. I was more of a marketing girl. But then in the final placements, I got a consulting offer and I took it up because, who would say no to it, right? It was in another country. It was a good pay. And the firm was also specializing in GTM, pricing. It was more of marketing, but consulting. I felt like it was a perfect balance of both. So I gave that a shot. And I think I had fun while it lasted. And but I think now looking back, I don't think consulting is for me. I think the hours, I really like having a life outside of work. Though it can be for some people who are okay working for 12, 14, 16 hours a day, but it's just not for me. I love my routines. I love knowing that, okay, I'll be going to the gym every day at 6 p.m. I love that, right? Instead of saying, oh my God, am I going to go to the gym today or not? So that is for me. So yes, I think my true love is marketing.
Any final advice? One thing that you'd ask me to definitely do, definitely not do?
I think have fun. Say a lot of yeses. If anyone asks you for a walk around campus at 2 a.m., don't say no, I'm tired. Say yes, it's fine. 30 minutes of sleep is completely, sleep is completely fine. Again, make connections. Participate in a lot. Make sure your voice is heard. That, when you come out, you actually leave a mark there. And it's okay to be another brick in the wall, but that's not something I want for you. And I feel like you have so much potential to shine. And basically do things that I didn't have the opportunity or wasn't able to do, like get an award at the final graduation thing or anything like that. So something, basically try to one me up. It's not just advice, but a whole challenge for you.
All right.
End of the podcast with my sister, and I hope you had fun watching this. Her social media will be in the description, and you can follow her and see how her journey goes for the next 2 years.